On November 13, 2022, the quiet college town of Moscow, Idaho, was shattered by an unthinkable tragedy. For University of Idaho students, Kaylee Goncalves, Madison Mogen, Xana Kernodle, and Ethan Chapin were brutally murdered in their off-campus home. The case sent shockwaves across the nation, leaving everyone asking, what really happened that night? In this video, we'll dive deep into the timeline of events, the victims' stories, the ongoing investigation, and the latest developments in this chilling case. By the end, you'll understand why this tragedy has captivated the world and why the search for justice is far from over. But before we begin, let's take a moment to remember the 4 young lives that were tragically cut short. Their stories are at the heart of this case, and it's important to honor their memory as we seek answers. This case is not just about a crime, it's about the lives lost, the families left behind, and the community forever changed. So, let's begin by getting to know the victims. Let's start by getting to know the 4 young lives that were tragically cut short. Kaylee Goncalves, a 21-year-old marketing major. Kaylee was known for her vibrant personality and love of adventure. She had recently accepted a job in Texas and was excited about her future. Kaylee was also an animal lover and had a golden retriever named Murphy, who was found unharmed at the scene. Her family has described her as a bright, ambitious young woman who lit up every room she entered. Madison Mogen, also 21, Madison was Kaylee's best friend and roommate. She was studying marketing and had a passion for cooking and baking. Madison was known for her kindness and was often described as the life of the party. Her friends remember her as someone who always put others first and had a contagious laugh. Xana Kernodle, a 20-year-old psychology student, Xana was described as kind-hearted and hardworking. She was in a relationship with Ethan Chapin and had recently celebrated her birthday. Xana's family has described her as a bright light who always put others first. She was known for her resilience and determination, traits that made her beloved by everyone who knew her. Ethan Chapin, at just 20 years old, Ethan was a business major and a member of the university's Sigma Chi fraternity. He was known for his athleticism and sense of humor. Ethan's twin brother, Hunter, has spoken about the deep bond they shared and the devastating impact of his loss. Ethan was a natural leader who brought joy to everyone around him. These 4 students were full of life, with bright futures ahead of them. But on that fateful night, their lives were tragically cut short in a crime that has left the nation in shock. As we delve deeper into this case, it's important to remember that these were real people, not just names in a news headline. They had dreams, aspirations, and loved ones who are still grappling with their loss. Now, let's turn our attention to the events of that tragic night. The timeline of events. Now, let's break down the timeline of events that led to this horrific crime. November 12, 2022. The 4 victims spent the evening at a local bar and a fraternity party. Surveillance footage shows them laughing and enjoying their night, unaware of the tragedy that awaited them. At around 1:45 a.m., Kaylee, Madison, Xana, and Ethan returned to their off-campus home on King Road. November 13, 2022. At around 3 a.m., a neighbor reported hearing loud noises and a dog barking. This timeline is crucial, as it suggests the murders occurred shortly after the victims returned home. At 11:58 a.m., a 911 call was made from inside the home, reporting an unconscious person. The call was made from one of the surviving roommates' phones, but the details of the call remain unclear. Police arrived to find the 4 students brutally murdered. The scene was described as chaotic and gruesome, with signs of a violent struggle. The timeline raises many questions. What happened between 1:45 a.m. and 3 a.m.? Who was the killer? And why were these 4 students targeted? One of the most puzzling aspects of the case is the presence of 2 surviving roommates. They were home at the time of the murders, but were unharmed. This has led to speculation about the killer's motives and methods. Did the killer know the victims? Or was this a random act of violence? As we explore these questions, it's important to remember that the investigation is ongoing, and new details are emerging every day. Now, let's take a closer look at the crime scene itself. The crime scene. The crime scene was gruesome and chaotic. The victims were found in their beds, all suffering from multiple stab wounds. There were no signs of forced entry, suggesting the killer may have known the victims or had access to the home. One of the most chilling details is the presence of a surviving roommate. 2 other roommates were home at the time of the murders but were unharmed. This has led to speculation about the killer's motives and methods. Police have remained tight-lipped about specific details, but they have confirmed that the killer used a fixed-blade knife and left behind minimal evidence. This has made the investigation incredibly challenging. the lack of a clear motive and the absence of forced entry have made it difficult to narrow down suspects. However, investigators have focused on several key pieces of evidence. The white Hyundai Elantra. Surveillance footage shows a white Hyundai Elantra near the crime scene around the time of the murders. Police have asked the public for help in identifying the vehicle and its driver. DNA evidence. DNA was collected from the scene, but no matches have been found yet. Investigators are hopeful that advances in forensic technology will eventually lead to a breakthrough. The 911 call. The details of the 911 call remain unclear, but it's believed that one of the surviving roommates made the call after discovering the bodies. As the investigation continues, these pieces of evidence could hold the key to solving the case. The investigation. The investigation into the Idaho student murders has been one of the largest and most complex in recent history. Here's what we know so far. Suspects. Police have interviewed dozens of people, including friends, family, and acquaintances of the victims. A white Hyundai Elantra seen near the crime scene has become a key focus of the investigation. Evidence. DNA evidence was collected from the scene, but no matches have been found yet. Surveillance footage from nearby businesses has provided some clues, but the killer's identity remains unknown. Challenges. The lack of a clear motive and the absence of forced entry have made it difficult to narrow down suspects. Despite these challenges, investigators remain determined to solve the case and bring the killer to justice. The latest developments. As of October 2023, the case remains unsolved, but there have been some significant developments. New evidence. Police have released additional surveillance footage and are asking for the public's help in identifying the white Hyundai Elantra. Forensic experts are re-examining DNA evidence in hopes of finding a match. Arrests. Several persons of interest have been questioned, but no arrests have been made yet. Community impact. The murders have left the Moscow community in shock, with many students transferring to other schools for fear of their safety. The search for justice continues, and every new development brings hope that the killer will soon be caught. Theories and speculations. In the absence of concrete answers, many theories have emerged about who the killer could be and why they targeted these 4 students. Theory 1. A targeted attack. Some believe the killer knew the victims and had a personal grudge against them. Theory 2. A random act of violence. Others think the killer may have chosen the house at random, making the crime even more terrifying. Theory 3. A serial killer. Given the brutality of the murders, some speculate that the killer may have struck before and could strike again. While these theories are compelling, only time will tell which one is correct. The Idaho student murders are a stark reminder of how fragile life can be. For young lives were taken far too soon, and their families and friends are left to pick up the pieces. As the investigation continues, we can only hope that justice will be served and that the killer will be brought to justice. If you have any information about this case, please contact the Moscow Police Department. Thank you for watching. If you found this video informative, please like, share, and subscribe for more deep dives into true crime cases. Together, we can keep the memory of Kaylee, Madison, Xana, and Ethan alive and help ensure that their killer is caught.